Hello and welcome back to Buckle Up. I'm Harry King and this is the VW Amarok, VW's biggest, baddest, most commercial vehicle, if you don't include the Crafter. But is it any good? As usual, we'll begin here at the front end, where the first thing to note is this is now a platform share with Ford. VW and Ford have kind of come together to amalgamate and cross-pollinate on a bunch of projects across their ranges. There's the Ford electric cars are actually VWs, and the Caddy and the Transit Courier are the same thing. And now this is based on a Ranger, which is the best-selling pickup truck in the UK. So that has to be a good thing, right? The reason I'm clarifying that for you is in the looks department, they're not actually that similar. They only share about 3 body panels, all of which are above the waistline. So to look at, you might not necessarily make the connection. Of course, they're a very similar kind of form factor because all pickup trucks are ultimately. But at the front here, you get VW's big badge and corporate lights. On this model, you get bright work all over the front. If you step up to the top trim, that gets darkened out to make it a bit sportier. And a sort of brush guard down here, but it is plastic rather than metal. Moving down the side, you get these very chunky 18-inch alloy wheels. These go all the way from 17s up to 21s. I would not be optioning 21-inch wheels on a pickup truck. It entirely defeats the point. Now, on this particular vehicle, which is in a style trim, by the way, we have these running boards, which are very handy for getting in and out of, you know. We also have a sports bar up here. This again is in bright work, as is this waistline matchup with the front. And we have 4Motion all-wheel drive, which is just VW's name for having four-wheel drive in a car. This actually shares its four-wheel drive system with the Ranger rather than anything else in the VW product lineup. But at the back, we get lots of important trucky stuff. So number one, this has the tow pack, which means it comes with this tow ball and electronics, all prepped on a massive honking bracket. That's because this can tow up to 3.5 tons braked trailer, which is class matching. Legislation stops you from towing any more than that in the UK, before some Americans in the comments tell me how much their Dodge Ram can do. You have stamped in the metal Amarok, which I like. That's kind of very classic truck stuff. Another big badge, and another 4Motion badge actually. And then if I open this up, we get the bed, the main event, as it were. Now, you can fit a Euro pallet in here, and depending on your options, you can have up to a 1.1 ton payload, although I believe it goes as low as kind of like 700-800 kilos, so you do need to be careful when you're optioning things, depending on how much you want to fit in the vehicle. I also, on this one, have a very fancy roll-top cover that's electronic, and very, very reasonably priced at just £3,100. Other important features of the load bed, as you can see, I can stand in it because it's a pickup truck. On the edge of your tailgate, not only do you have the classic cup holder sections for if you want to go tailgating, there's actually a measure right at the back. So if you're chopping wood in your Amarok, you can measure it. We also have a series of tie-down hooks, but otherwise, this is a mostly featureless space. Now, you might think if you get a truck like this with a roll top like this, you can use it just like an SUV. My warning to you is this is not entirely weatherproof. It's mostly weatherproof, but water does leak into the bed just there, even when the top is closed. There are other tops available that are more weatherproof, but bear that in mind if you want to be one of those people who buys a pickup truck rather than an SUV. Now though, can you sit in the back as comfortably as you could in a family SUV? First thing to do, since we're in the back of a pickup truck and things aren't quite as normal, is I'll lift up the seat base, which you can do. It then has this hook to hold it in place, and this is where you'll find your red triangle and your jack and your extra number plate if you want to do some bits of towing. You can also drop the backrests, but there's not really much there. There's a little bit of hidden storage around both, but actually a bit less than you find in some of the rivals. I will now climb in using the running boards and the handle, get down into the seat, and close the door. And there is just about enough room for me in here. So if you do have 4 people to get around a job site with you, this would do an all right job. I think if it was 3 people of my size back here, though, we would be jostling a bit for shoulder room. My knees are against this seat. This is in my driving position. I am 180 centimetres tall, so not the tallest, but on the taller side of things. And overall, for such a large vehicle, you might expect a little bit more space back here. But in terms of pickup trucks, this isn't that uncommon. And obviously the backrests are slightly more upright than you might expect in an SUV, for example. Now, materials in this Star model, you've got kind of leather outers and Alcantara inserts on the chairs, which is great for grip as you do all of your fast cornering in your 2-ton pickup truck. I have power here, and I say power because I have a 12-volt socket and then a 230-volt household-style outlet. Though weirdly, no USBs, so you'll need to bring a 3-pin plug with you with some USBs on it if you want to charge your phone in the back. I've got some various bits of storage on the back of the chairs, and I also have good-sized door pockets with a cutout for a bottle. You get Isofix as well on here, although the slits are slightly awkwardly shaped, which makes it hard to get a chair in. And if you want to put the top tethers on, you have to drop the backs of the seats. So getting chairs in and out won't be as easy as it can be, again, on a family SUV. Let's see, though, what it's like in the front. Thankfully, up here, it's much more spacious, and there are a lot of interesting things going on considering this is a commercial vehicle. So, very nice interior for a pickup truck. I've got contrasting colours up here. I have fake effect wood on the dashboard, which I really wasn't expecting. Bits of bright work as well. The seats are lovely, very, very soft and comfortable. I do think it's a strange choice to put Alcantara on a seat centre of a seat you have to climb up into. A lot of people will slide across a pickup truck seat, and you can't really slide across an Alcantara seat. So you kind of do a little like bunny hop to get in place. But of course you've got your handle to get up and down and into, and if you do it that way, you will save your seat bolsters. So don't be lazy, people. Maybe that's the real lesson here. There's also loads of storage and practicality because this is a commercial vehicle. So I've got cup holders here in the centre, and I've got a bottle holder in the door as well, which is lovely. I've got a cubby down here, which is a wireless charger, as well as 2 USBs, a USB-A and a USB-C, and a 12-volt socket for somewhere to put my phone. Obviously, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, wireless is available, but you can cable in as well. I've got a kind of storage tray up here on the dashboard too, which is lovely. I've got 2 glove boxes, so I've got this lower one and this upper one here behind my wood effect trim. And I have a large center console storage area, although it is a bit plastic fantastic in here. And I think that's weirdly, I don't know, it doesn't feel very sturdy, and it kind of feels quite cheap on there. There are cheaper materials in this cabin for probably robustness reason more than anything else. So a lot of hard plastic lower down and on the doors, although where your arm go is soft touch and the tops are soft touch. They've kind of balanced it quite well, I think, because it does feel rather premium in here, but actually where you're going to have muddy boots and other things, it is more hard wearing and easy to wipe down. I also have a sunglasses holder up here in the ceiling, which makes this the best car in the world. Infotainment-wise, it's a Ford system reskinned with VW stuff. So you've got your kind of usual graphics, but it's portrait like you would find in the Ford Ranger. The difference here, though, is they've put the climate controls in the screen. When there were physical ones literally available on the platform, I don't know why they've done this. I find it really irritating to use these ones. Somehow it's more irritating than using the updated VW system. They're just kind of in the wrong place and a bit awkward to modulate, I don't know. And you have to bring a whole climate screen up, which then covers your sat-nav and everything else. You've also got a digital drivers cluster, which again is configurable. You've got driving modes, which include off-road modes, terrain response, and they do come with animations up here to show you exactly what's going on. And I think this is a good thing. They've not bothered to put a sports mode in, because why would you have a sports mode on a pickup truck? You have normal, eco, towing, slippery, mud and ruts, and deep snow and sand, which is enough. I've also got electronic four-wheel drive selection, so I've got 2 high, 4 auto, 4 high and 4 low for really tricky conditions. I've got hill descent control. You can get this with a locking rear diff. You can turn the traction control off, which is important if you're in slippery conditions. It's all very good. And because this does have some Ford underpinnings, I do get proper buttons on the steering wheel, which is lovely. I've got kind of radar cruise on one side, infotainment menu on the other, and then standard indicators, wash wipers behind them. I think overall the takeaway is this is really nice in here for a pickup truck, but there's a commanding price that goes with that, which I'll get onto more while we go on a drive. So weirdly, I am going to start the driving segment by talking about price, because as I've alluded to, this is a platform share with the Ford Ranger, but in like-for-like specification, trim levels options wise, this is about £2,000 more expensive. So this mid-spec style model with the 205 PS diesel engine, 4-cylinder, on the road price with the options, the most expensive one being that roll top cover, is about £55,000, including VAT. Now, there are some benefits to going with the VW over the Ranger. Interior quality is one. You also get free roadside recovery with the VW. You don't get that with the Ranger. So there are reasons for that above just badge snobbery. VW, in the UK at least, seeming a bit more premium than Ford. The other thing to remember there is I've just said this is £55,000 including VAT, and that might sound like a lot of money for a pickup truck, but when you consider how nice this is on the inside and the capability this affords you, compared to SUVs, it's about 10 grand cheaper than most of the rivals. So things like the Land Rover Defender, the Jeep Wrangler, it's 10 grand cheaper. Toyota Land Cruiser, it's 20 grand cheaper than. So there is a kind of value for money argument to be made. Now, compared to a family SUV, even a very off-road focused one, there are some pitfalls when going with a body-on-frame vehicle designed to have high payload in the back. So this has rear leaf springs, which is a fairly standard practice on pickup trucks, and obviously they're designed to operate best when you have around a ton of stuff in the bed. So unloaded or with a lighter load, i.e. normal family stuff rather than cement or sand, this is a little less settled than an SUV would be. There's a kind of jiggle and wobble through the chassis because you've got a bit of flex just due to the nature of the way these vehicles are. That is true of all pickup trucks, and actually for a pickup truck this is very, very refined. VW do this nifty trick where they have the dampers on the other side of the chassis rails to help the rebound and recoil and make it more compliant on the road. The overall vibe while driving, you can hustle this. It will go around a corner at speed. No, there's no feel in the steering. There's not really any feel in the brakes. They're both kind of progressive and easy to understand, but numb and light. So it's not hard to drive or anything, but you can have a better driving experience in what is designed to be a family car. This is available with a 2-litre diesel engine with 170 PS and a manual 6-speed. This 2-litre twin turbocharged diesel with 205 PS and a 10-speed automatic gearbox, or you can get a 3-litre diesel V6 with 240 PS and the same 10-speed automatic gearbox. Things you don't get though, you can't get a single cab version of this truck, which means with the incoming tax changes to pickup trucks, this will be affected by it across the board. Obviously, if you buy an extended or single cab pickup truck, that will still enjoy benefit in kind reduction like other commercial vehicles do. The government now considers this to be a dual-use vehicle, which means you don't get the reduction on benefit in kind. You can, of course, still claim the VAT back if you're buying this for business purposes, though. And if you are claiming the VAT back, the kind of base price for this spec level is 40 grand, which is really good value for money compared to an SUV. There's loads and loads of tech in here, and it's so comfortable. The seating position is excellent. It's a proper command seating position. Bonnet's big and square. I actually don't even have this seat set all the way low, and I've got loads of headroom, massive amount of flexibility for reach, rake, everything, height of the seat, all that stuff is super, super adjustable. A driver of any size or shape will be very comfortable in here, and the seats are very comfortable and they're heated. I've got radar cruise and auto steering on the motorway. That system works very well, turns on very easily and stays turned on and following the lines very, very well indeed. So there's lots of comforts in here that mean you could use it every single day. Now back to the figures, you get 500 Newton meters in this twin turbo 2-litre diesel. So if you want to tow 3.5 tons, you don't have to get the top spec engine, though of course it will be even more pleasant with the top spec engine, but there's loads of grunt in here. And actually the fuel economy is all right. I'm getting mid to high 20 mpgs unloaded, 27-ish. If you go up to the V6, that's going to be more like 24 mpg unloaded. Although, of course, the downside of this is its 0 to 62 is 10.5 seconds, which I think is fine in a vehicle like this. It feels quick enough. You can join the motorway with no problems. Of course, again, if you're watching this thinking maybe I would buy a pickup truck rather than an SUV for your next car purchase, it's worth bearing in mind that most pickup trucks are limited to 50 miles an hour on an A road, 60 miles an hour on a dual carriageway. They can go 70 on the motorway, but also because they're commercial vehicles, you are subject to much stricter rules when it comes to being flashed by a speed camera. If that should happen to you, it can be more points and a more severe penalty fine. So all those things, it's worth bearing in mind. Other little niggles, this has surround view cameras, but weirdly, they don't work while you're driving forwards. So if you want to maneuver into a tight space and you want the assistance of the cameras, you can only do that in reverse. This is 5,390 millimeters long and excluding the mirrors, 1.9 meters wide. They're big mirrors, they're for towing. So it might be nice to be able to use that. Turning circle, 12.9 meters. Pretty good for this type of vehicle, but quite large in the grand scheme of things. So multi-storey car parks, probably not the one in here. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have any other niggles. So let's go back and do a proper conclusion. So, the VW Amarok, what am I thinking? Well, I think this is an excellent truck. I've got two small niggles. I've got the fact the surround cameras don't work when you're going forwards. I think that's weird on such a large vehicle. And the rear seat space, I feel, could be better when you have so much exterior space to play with. But otherwise, I think if you put it all together, it's nice inside, it drives very well. If you really think about it, it's good value for money. All in all, it's a thumbs up from Buckle Up. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. If you go down into the description, you'll find all the links to all our social medias. You'll also find two ways that you can support the channel. So we have channel merchandise that I'm currently sporting, and we also have channel memberships right here on YouTube. Please go and do one or all of those things, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.